Time is running out. 2 days remain before September closes its final chapter, and these are no ordinary days. September 29th and 30th carry the power of a cosmic ending and a new beginning. In these days, the truth rises. Hidden feelings, unfinished lessons, and unresolved stories will come to the surface. What you've been holding back will demand to be faced because whether you're ready or not, these 2 days are aligning to test you, reveal you, and prepare you. And as the calendar shifts into October, the change will be impossible to ignore. So stay with me. But first, do 3 things. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and type the number 777 in the comments. From now through September 30th, powerful energy is moving in. These last 2 days are like a cosmic mirror, showing you what has been hidden inside. Symbolically, these days speak of closure. Cycles that have stretched too long begin to end. Patterns that no longer belong start to fade, just as night gives way to dawn. This is the pause before a new chapter begins. On a personal level, you may feel emotions rise, sudden insights appear, or an inner push to make changes you've been avoiding. This matters because it isn't random. It's a doorway and you are standing right at its edge. Right now, most people think life will just keep moving the same way day after day. Wake up, go through the motions, repeat. But underneath there's a pressure building. These last days of September bring that pressure to the surface. They ask you to stop, to notice, and to be honest about what isn't working anymore. Think of it like cleaning out a room. At first you don't see the clutter because you've gotten used to it. But when the light shines in, you notice the dust, the old boxes, the things you've held onto for years without a reason. It feels overwhelming. But once you start clearing, the space feels lighter. That's exactly what these days are doing for your soul. Emotions may come stronger than usual. Little things could make you feel upset or nostalgic. Memories from the past might show up, not to drag you back, but to remind you of lessons you haven't fully learned. Patience builds wealth. Haste destroys it. This is the universe's way of saying it's time to release what's weighing you down. Relationships will also show their true colors. Some people may drift away and that might hurt, but others will step forward, showing you who truly belongs in your life. This is not about losing, it's about seeing clearly. It's about realizing who grows with you and who keeps you standing still. And then there are your habits. Think about the small things you do every day, the choices that feel safe but don't move you forward. Maybe it's holding on to a job that drains you, a routine that leaves you empty, or a fear that keeps you from taking the step you know you need. These days bring a mirror to all of that. They ask, is this the life you want to carry into your future? Imagine walking with a heavy backpack. At first you can manage, but as time goes on, it wears you down. When you finally take it off, the relief is instant. You breathe easier. You walk lighter. That is the opportunity these days bring, the chance to set down what no longer belongs, so you can move forward freely. And it matters because time doesn't pause. October arrives whether you are ready or not. These final days are the bridge between your past and your future. You cannot carry everything across that bridge. You must choose what stays with you and what gets left behind. So take a moment and reflect. What are you holding on to out of habit, fear, or comfort? What is quietly asking to be released? And what new beginning has been waiting for space to enter your life? The answers are already inside you. These days are simply shining a light on them. September 29th and 30th arrive like 2 doors standing side by side. One leads to the version of life you've already lived, the other to the version you've been waiting for. Which one you walk through depends on the choices you make now. These are not ordinary days to coast through. They are markers, moments that invite you to take back your power. Think about how many times life feels like it's running on autopilot. You wake up, handle your responsibilities, and before you know it, weeks have gone by. These days disrupt that pattern. They don't allow the comfort of autopilot. Instead, they ask you to pause and pay attention, to ask yourself whether the path you're on is truly your path, or simply the one you've been walking because it was already there. The first guidance here is clarity. Not the kind of clarity that comes from endless thinking, but the kind that comes when you finally stop distracting yourself and admit what's true. Clarity doesn't always arrive as a perfect plan. Sometimes it comes as a quiet voice in your mind saying, this isn't working, or it's time to move. Listen to that. Those small inner nudges are often the universe's way of guiding you toward a future you haven't yet imagined. Picture your life like a garden. Some plants grow wild, taking up space, blocking sunlight from reaching the smaller ones. If you never prune, the garden becomes crowded and nothing flourishes the way it should. Guidance now is to start trimming back what has overgrown. That could be relationships that drain you, habits that keep you stuck, or beliefs that keep you small. This is not about cutting everything down at once, but about being honest about what is no longer healthy for your growth. Another step is courage. Most people underestimate how much courage they already have. You may believe courage only belongs to heroes in stories, but it shows up every time you choose differently than before. Walking away from gossip, saying no to things that don't serve you, admitting you want something bigger. That is courage in action. On these 2 days, courage will matter more than comfort. Without it, you'll keep circling the same old patterns. With it, you'll start creating a new rhythm for your life. Energy during this time has a way of exposing what's hidden. Secrets you've kept from yourself. Rise up. Maybe you've convinced yourself you're satisfied, but deep down you know you've been playing small. Or maybe you've convinced yourself someone is good for you, but in truth they've been holding you back. These realizations can sting, but they are gifts if you choose to act on them. Guidance here is not to judge yourself for what you see, but to thank the clarity and move forward. Another piece of advice is balance. Change does not mean throwing everything away. It means learning to recognize what is worth keeping and what is worth releasing. Imagine carrying a backpack on a long hike. If it's filled with heavy, unnecessary items, every step becomes harder. When you finally lighten the load, the journey becomes easier and you discover you can go farther than you thought. That is balance. Learning to travel lighter without losing what's valuable. Practical action is the bridge between insight and transformation. Don't only think about change, take a step toward it. Small actions can be powerful here. Cleaning your home, organizing your space, or starting a new routine may seem ordinary, but they signal to your mind and spirit that you are making room for new opportunities. Big shifts are built from small, consistent choices. The advice is not to wait for the perfect moment. The moment is already here. Also, give attention to your connections. People mirror your growth. Some will support your progress and cheer you on. Others may resist because your growth forces them to confront their own stagnation. Guidance here is not to beg anyone to come with you. If someone belongs in your next chapter, they will walk beside you willingly. If they don't, let them stay behind without guilt. Your path cannot be delayed because someone else refuses to move. This is also the time to ground yourself in vision. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to become? Too often people only think about what they don't want. They don't want stress. They don't want conflict. They don't want failure. But focusing only on what you don't want leaves you standing in a fog. Guidance here is to paint a picture, however simple, of the life you do want. More peace, more honesty, more joy, more freedom. Keep that picture in your mind like a compass. Metaphorically, these 2 days are like standing at the edge of a river. You can choose to stay on the bank watching the water pass, or you can step in and let the current carry you forward. The water may feel uncertain, but it is the only way to cross to the other side. The advice is to trust the crossing. Don't cling to the safety of the bank when the future you want is on the far shore. There is also guidance in reflection. Take a few moments to write down what is weighing on you, what excites you, and what changes you've been postponing. Putting it into words outside of your mind makes it real. It makes you accountable. When you see it on paper, it becomes harder to ignore. This act of reflection transforms vague desires into clear priorities. Finally, remember that no shift is meant to break you. It's meant to shape you. These days are not punishment. They are preparation. They remind you that growth rarely comes from comfort. Guidance now is to welcome the discomfort as proof that you're moving towards something meaningful. Like muscles strengthening after exercise, the tension you experience is a sign of progress. Momentum is everything. Once you've taken the first steps, the challenge becomes continuing the journey without slipping back into old patterns. September 29th and 30th give you a unique chance to anchor change in your life. But the real work is keeping that anchor steady when distractions and doubts start pulling at you. Think of it like setting out on a new path through the woods. At first, the trail is bright and exciting. Every step feels fresh. But as the days pass, you reach points where the path looks unclear, or where branches block the way. This is where most people turn back. The guidance here is to keep moving. Even if the path isn't perfectly marked, trust that each step forward is carving out a new way for you. Even if you can't see the full destination yet, one of the most powerful practices during times like this is self-honesty. Not the easy kind where you say what sounds good, but the kind where you admit truths you might have avoided. Are you spending your time the way you truly want to? Are you holding on to things that make you smaller because you're afraid of change? Honest reflection is uncomfortable, but it is also liberating. It's like finally opening a window in a room that has been closed for too long. The air shifts and suddenly there's space to breathe. Practical advice here is simple. Create daily check-ins with yourself. They don't need to be long or complicated. Take 10 minutes to ask, what am I carrying today that isn't mine? What small step can I take today that aligns with who I want to be? By asking these questions, you stop yourself from drifting back into old cycles. Small check-ins create lasting change. Guidance also extends to how you treat your own body and energy. These days amplify emotions and thoughts which can feel overwhelming if you don't take care of yourself. It doesn't require anything complex. More water, more movement, more rest, more time in nature. Think of yourself like a phone that needs charging. Without plugging into a source of renewal, you run on empty. Your choices, your focus, and your resilience all depend on how well you recharge. Another metaphor for this time is a sculptor working with stone. At first, the block seems solid, heavy, impossible to shape. But with each strike, each small removal, a form begins to emerge. The sculptor doesn't reveal the figure in one blow. It's the patience of consistent work that brings the vision to life. That is exactly how to approach your growth. Now don't expect instant transformation. Allow each choice, each action to chip away what doesn't belong until your true shape is visible. Relationships deserve another close look. Guidance here is not only about who to release, but also about how to deepen the connections that matter. Ask yourself, am I showing up fully for the people who support me? Am I communicating my truth or holding back out of fear? True connection requires vulnerability. When you let yourself be seen without masks, you create the kind of relationships that can stand the test of time. This period is an invitation to strengthen those bonds. The advice also includes embracing uncertainty. Most people wait until they have everything figured out before they act, but that moment never arrives. The truth is, clarity often comes after you begin, not before. Imagine standing at the edge of a lake at dawn. The mist covers the water, hiding what lies ahead. But as you step into the boat and begin to row, the mist starts to lift and the view becomes clear. Action clears the fog. Waiting only keeps you stuck at the shore. Another piece of guidance is to stop comparing your journey to others. In a world where everyone posts their highlight reels, it's easy to believe you're behind. But remember, your path is yours alone. Comparing timelines only robs you of progress. The tree that blooms in spring is no less beautiful than the one that blooms in summer. Each has its own timing. Trust yours. Practical advice for anchoring this truth is to limit distractions. Too much noise drowns out your own inner voice, whether it's endless scrolling, constant outside opinions, or old stories in your head. You need space to hear yourself clearly. Silence, even for a few moments, creates that space. It's not about disconnecting from the world completely. It's about connecting more deeply with yourself. Money, work, and goals also come into play here. Guidance is to look at whether your daily efforts align with your bigger vision. Are you working only to survive or also to create a life that excites you? Sometimes the smallest adjustments, learning a new skill, shifting how you spend, taking one step toward a dream project, open doors you didn't even know were possible. This period supports bold, meaningful steps even if they're small. Think of your journey as a staircase. You don't climb it in one leap. You take it step by step. Some steps are easy, others are steep, but each one lifts you higher. Looking back, you'll see how far you've come, but only if you keep climbing. The advice here is simple. Don't stop midway. Even if progress feels slow, every step counts. Also cultivate gratitude, not as a cliche, but as a real practice. Gratitude shifts perspective. It reminds you that even in moments of challenge, there is something supporting you. It might be the kindness of a friend, the beauty of a sunrise, or the lesson learned from a setback. Gratitude doesn't erase struggle, but it balances it, making the path lighter. And remember, growth is not about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more of who you truly are. Guidance now is to peel away the layers of expectation, comparison, and fear so your authentic self can stand in the open. Authenticity is magnetic. When you show up as you without pretense, the right opportunities, people, and experiences align naturally. In the end, these 2 days act as a reset, not a reset that erases the past, but one that gives you the power to write the next chapter differently. You stand at a turning point, not because fate controls you, but because you are being reminded of your own power to choose, and that is the most practical guidance of all. Choose wisely, choose bravely, and choose in alignment with the life you know you deserve. Tonight, everything builds to a peak. Not in silence, not in subtlety, but in a way that asks you to rise with it. This isn't about small changes or half-hearted promises. This is about the kind of turning point where you recognize that the page is ready to turn, and the pen is already in your hand. You've walked through shadows, faced echoes of the past, and questioned where you truly belong. Now the horizon opens wider, and the choice is standing right in front of you. When people talk about breakthroughs, they often imagine lightning strikes or sudden revelations. In truth, transformation rarely comes wrapped in spectacle. It arrives quietly at first, like a voice reminding you of who you really are, and then it grows louder until you can no longer push it aside. September 29th and 30th are marked by this exact kind of call, and it is not by chance that you're here listening on this very path. The turning point is not a single step. It's a decision you carry in your chest like a compass. Every story of triumph has a chapter where the main character almost gives up, but something inside refuses to settle. That's where you are now. This isn't about comparing yourself to others or racing to some invisible finish line. It's about daring to say, I deserve more and I am ready to claim it. And once you make that choice, the ground beneath you begins to shift in ways you couldn't have imagined before. Think of your life as a landscape that has been waiting for your courage. The hills, valleys, rivers, and skies are already there, but they respond differently once you decide to walk forward with certainty. Opportunities that were once invisible start to emerge. Conversations you've delayed suddenly happen. The heaviness you've carried doesn't seem as strong, and none of it comes because fate handed it to you. It comes because you finally stepped into alignment with what was waiting all along. Tonight the challenge is not to wait for a sign, but to become the sign. Too many times we sit back hoping for proof that the timing is right, but the truth is your own courage creates the timing. When you declare your choice, when you refuse to shrink back into the comfort of hesitation, the entire path begins to rearrange itself around that decision. Your turning point is not ahead of you. It's already here. You may be asking yourself what this really means in your daily life. It means no longer putting off the conversation you need to have. It means cutting ties with habits that keep you small. It means investing in the dreams you've shelved because they felt too big for you. It means facing the mirror and refusing to carry the old version of yourself any further. This is where empowerment moves from words into action. The beauty of a turning point is that it does not erase your past. It transforms how you carry it. Every setback becomes a lesson. Every disappointment becomes fuel. Every misstep becomes a reminder that you survived and grew stronger. Nothing has been wasted, not one moment. That's why this climax matters so much, because all of it, every detail of your journey has prepared you for this exact crossroad. Ask yourself, are you ready to rise into the version of yourself that no longer asks for permission? The version that doesn't wait for the perfect timing, but creates it. The version that looks ahead and says, I may not know every step, but I know the direction is forward. That's the heart of the turning point. It's not about certainty. It's about courage. Think of it like climbing to the edge of a mountain. For so long you've been winding through narrow paths, tripping on loose stones, doubting if the climb was worth it. And then finally you reach the summit. The view is wide, the horizon endless. From here you can see possibilities you never imagined. But here's the truth. The mountain didn't move to give you this view. You did the climbing. You earned it. And that means the next mountains, the next horizons are already within your reach. Some people will hesitate here. They'll turn back to familiar paths because they fear the unknown. But the challenge laid before you now is to be different. To recognize that growth doesn't come by clinging to the edge of safety. Tonight is your invitation to step into that decision, to embrace hope not as a vague idea but as fuel that drives action. Hope is not passive. Hope is an engine. It propels you forward when doubt whispers in your ear. It reminds you that what looks impossible today will one day be the proof of your strength. That's what makes this moment climactic. So here's the challenge. Stop treating your life as if it's something happening to you and start living as though it's happening for you. Every choice, every action, every step is an opportunity to sculpt the life you want. And yes, the unknown will always be there. But the unknown is not your enemy. It is the space where new beginnings are born. The turning point is not about whether you're ready. It's about whether you're willing. Willing to walk into the open space of possibility. Willing to release what weighs you down. Willing to rise even if your knees are shaking. Willing to claim the life that has been waiting for you all along. September 29th and 30th are not ordinary markers on a calendar. They are reminders that time does not pause for hesitation. They stand as thresholds urging you to step through. And once you do, nothing remains the same. Not because the world suddenly changes, but because you do. And when you change, the world cannot help but respond. So here at this peak, let the challenge echo inside you. Move boldly. Live fully. Rise without apology. Do not wait for permission. Do not wait for certainty. The turning point is now and the choice is yours to make. And remember, courage doesn't always look loud or dramatic. Sometimes it's quiet, steady, almost invisible to others, but deeply powerful within you. It's in the choice to keep showing up when no one is watching. It's in the way you decide to carry yourself with dignity, even when challenges try to pull you down. It's in the small but meaningful actions that build over time into a life you can look back on with pride. Your turning point doesn't demand perfection. It doesn't demand flawless steps or constant certainty. It only asks that you keep moving in the direction of who you know you can become. The truth is, the world doesn't need a perfect version of you. It needs the real you, the one who dares to live fully, who risks being authentic, who chooses growth even when it's easier to stay the same. So as this moment gathers in strength, remind yourself nothing ahead is stronger than what already lives inside you. You've walked too far, endured too much, and learned too deeply to ever go backward. The summit has opened. The path is clear and the choice is right here. All that remains is for you to step forward. The last 2 days have carried a rare intensity, a reminder that time will not wait for hesitation. September 29th to 30th have stood as a turning point, pressing each of us to rise higher and step into what we know is possible. Transformation is not an abstract idea. It is the moment you decide that the past does not hold the final word. It is the courage to embrace hope as something living, active, and powerful enough to reshape tomorrow. Every ending has been preparing the way for renewal, and every challenge has been pointing you towards strength you may not have recognized before. Cosmic currents like these are not background noise. They are invitations. Invitations to grow, to expand, and to step into alignment with the life you know is waiting. The window is open and the call is clear. Now it is your turn. Share in the comments how these days have spoken to you. Declare your readiness. Subscribe to the channel, like this video, and pass it along to someone who may need to hear this message. And stay close, because what comes next will not only build on this moment, it will carry you further into the transformation you've already begun.